technology can provide some real support. I'm not trying to replace humans. That absolutely not. I'm trying to give teachers, lecturers, clinicians better tools to help take the pressure off them so that they can focus on higher value tasks and provide early therapeutic experiences to help all those people that are on waiting lists as well. So you know, coming into this, technology has got, it can really unlock a whole range of opportunities and possibilities, which is what really excites me.
My guest this week is Anne Widdop, who is a businesswoman, and she's one of the few women to have reached a senior level within a global tech company. Anne has a bachelor's in computing science from the University of Glasgow, a master's in public service management from Stirling University. She's a former director of IBM Global Services, and currently she operates as the founding director of the VR Hive. Anne, welcome to STEM with Mr. N.
Hi, nice to be with you.
It's a pleasure to have you on. And can we just start by finding out a bit more about the VR Hive? Who are they and what do they do?
Of course. So the VR Hive, we're an immersive learning tech company specialising in immersive learning for children, young adults and corporates. And we're basically using artificial intelligence and virtual reality to create reactive and adaptive learning environments and make learning much more immersive. And it's really to engage people or more engage people, to give lecturers and teachers the tools that they need to work with the younger generation. But really it's to give people experiential learning as well, and to use all this amazing technology that's out there and bring it to education. So that's what the VR Hive does.
And what age groups is the VR Hive aimed at? You know, what's your lowest age and where does it go up to?
Well, we start at 7, and well, there's no limit really on the age. Where, I mean, our first product, which is called Aris Egg Isle, is aimed at secondary schools. So it's a platform with a number of interactive AI-driven coaches, and that's for secondary school pupils. I think one of the other important things is we're entwining the learning with support for mental health. So we have included early interventions to help with things like anxiety, and we're continuing to build and incorporate in the platform both educational and ability to learn about how to deal with, identify and deal with common mental health issues, but also give early therapeutic experiences as well to really help people learn how to deal with that in real life.
And it's great that beyond the educational aspect, you're also looking at that mental health aspect as well, because people won't be able to engage in learning if they've got other issues going on. So it's great that that's in there too. What is your sort of typical day as the director of the VR Hive? What do you do?
Good question. Everything and anything. I often say to people, when I worked in IBM and had a team of 3,000 people, that was a big job and a lot. But working in a company where I've got 11 people is terrifying, because so much comes to my desk. So if there's any gaps in the team, I do it. So I spend my time on strategy, business planning, funding, sales and marketing, business operations. So, you know, my typical day ranges across a whole bunch of different things. At the moment, most of my time spent, I'm looking to raise about 2 million capital. So a lot of my time just now is spent in fundraising and talking to investors.
It sounds like that's quite then a varied role and a diverse role. And obviously you left, as you mentioned there, IBM, you had a team of 3,000 and set up your own business. Was it that diversity that you were seeking when you did that?
No, I set up the VR Hive during COVID, and it was really in response to the fact that everybody I knew had kids at home or students trying to learn, and people that I know that are lecturers or teachers were tearing their hair out because they're like, how are we meant to teach when we've not got the right tools to enable us to do that? You know, they were having to have long webinars and they just didn't have the tool sets to enable them to do that online distributed teaching with their students and their pupils. So, you know, I came into this with the really from the point of view of there being a massive problem, and I thought, how can we bring technology to help solve this problem, as opposed to coming at it from here's loads of great technology and going looking for a solution to go looking for a problem to fix rather. So, you know, I came at it really from trying to, there's so much unmet need out there in terms of moving education into the 21st century and also combining it with the massive rise in mental health issues, which I find deeply concerning. So, yeah, so that's kind of why I did this, you know.
And obviously, you mentioned there it was in response to trying to do the remote learning. So the Ariseg Island, for example, with the VR Hive, is that something which is accessed remotely by students, or is it being designed to be used in classrooms, or is it a bit of a combination?
It's a combination. You know, it'll be available to individuals to use it, and it's desktop based, so it's not, you don't need a virtual reality headset. But we're also looking at selling it into institutions as well. So it'll be in, you know, the labs and classrooms as well, available to the students there as well. So it's both.
And it sounds like a very interesting opportunity to get that technology learning into schools. Now, I mentioned at the start that you've got a degree in computing science, but what first got you interested in STEM that led you towards the computing science route?
I hate to say it, but I'm just old enough to remember the first moon landings. So you know, I'm not going to give my age away, but yeah, ancient. I was so excited about technology even as a youngster. And my dad bought me my first computer that he got from somebody who had got it was a BBC Micro, if anybody remembers what they are.
I remember BBC Micros.
Somebody had got one and given it to my dad because they said, "Oh, Anne might know what to do with this," because you know was quite bright at school. He had got no idea what to do with it whatsoever. So my dad had been given this thing, and I thought, "Oh, these computers are quite interesting." And I was, you know, interested in technology, and I was good at maths, and so that's kind of where it started. And you know, I started programming. At that, you know, sort of late teens, and it was very early days, you know. I won't even describe to your audience of what you used to have to do to program.
And, you know, obviously computing for a long time has been seen as a field that men go into. So when you went to do your degree in computing science, were you among just a small group of females? What was the landscape like at the time?
It was actually, I would say, probably about a third of the class were female at that time. So, so yeah, there was quite, you know, I would say a reasonable number of women in computing at that at university. It changed when I went into work though, because I suddenly, when I went to work, I was the only woman in the room. And to be honest, I kind of spent most of my career being the only woman in the room. So I'm really passionate about encouraging young women to get into STEM subjects because even after all this time, we still need to encourage girls and women to come into STEM subjects because there's still a real gender imbalance, and it's really important because women bring a different perspective to it and a different mindset to design, and every aspect of it. I think women can bring a lot to the table and should do, and their voices need to be heard.
And obviously you've been working in technology for a long time now and computing for a long time. And you'd said when you first went into industry, you were the only female in the room. Have you seen over all that time any improvement with more females coming in? I know it's nowhere near, where we're looking for it to go, but have you seen it improving?
I wish I could say it was improving as fast as I'd like it to, but unfortunately not. I would say there's still a lot that we need to do to get that balance. And even in my company now, I've got two women in the team who are doing technical jobs. And I've got a team of 11. So I'm finding it hard to recruit women into those roles, and I really want to have a balance, and a balance and a highly diverse team. That's what I want to create. But I've been struggling to get applicants for jobs that are female. So there's still an issue with the pipeline, and there's still an issue with just not enough young women coming through in these roles.
And why do you think young women aren't entering into the computing and technology side of things?
I think for young women, getting into a classroom that's mainly male can be quite intimidating for them. And I think for maybe older girls or women as well, I think they also can be intimidated by it. And it's not that they're not good at the subject, but they're in an environment where they don't have classmates that are like them. They find it a difficult environment to thrive in. And I think that's really sad. And I think everybody needs to do more to make those environments inclusive, not just for women, but for anybody who comes from a diverse background. It needs to be an inclusive and welcoming environment.
And it's great to hear that perspective from obviously somebody that's gone through it and worked in the industry for all that time.
I think one thing I would say, Stuart, was back in the 90s, I set up a women's technology centre near Falkirk, and we basically the centre was there to train women from underprivileged backgrounds and give them act as a stepping stone for them to get into jobs and into further and higher education. And we had an amazing success rate. I'm talking about 90% success rate. I've taken women that had previously worked in Tesco's stacking shelves or behind the counters and shops, and gave them a basic computer qualification, and gave them the courage to then go into college or to go into a technical job. And because it was a female only environment, it was such a different vibe for them that they really flourished. So I think more educational institutions and employers need to look at how they create the right environment, because it's not that women aren't capable of it, they just maybe feel if they're the only women in the room, it can be really intimidating.
And that visibility is a big thing that I've come across with quite a few different STEM careers, where people saying if there's not somebody visible there, like in engineering as well, if you don't see female engineers, you don't see that as a path for you. And again, that's why it's great having yourself on to be visible. But the other thing that some of my research showed was that girls and young women tend to go for STEM careers that more obviously benefit people, like going down the biological sciences and becoming doctors and things. But obviously you've mentioned there that with the VR Hive, you're looking at mental health being tied into that. And what other ways can being involved in computing science and technology benefit the people round about?
There's all sorts of things that you can do. So it's in terms of benefiting the wider community. It's being able to design things that are appealing to a younger audience, or to a female audience, or to a diverse audience. So bringing that different perspective to things. It's also looking at how you champion different areas as well, like mental health. We're also, and one of the other things that we're working on is providing support for women with menopause as well. So it's that's a recent CivTech challenge that we're going to be looking at. So I think women bring different perspectives. I mean, we're looking at eating disorders as well. ADHD, so a lot of things in the mental health area. So I think technology can provide some real support. I'm not trying to replace humans. That absolutely not. I'm trying to give teachers, lecturers, clinicians better tools to help take the pressure off them so that they can focus on higher value tasks and provide early therapeutic experiences to help all those people that are on waiting lists as well. So you know, coming into this, technology has got it can really unlock a whole range of opportunities and possibilities, which is what really excites me.
And speaking of those possibilities, you've mentioned that the VR Hive are including artificial intelligence in some of the work that you're doing. And obviously, people have a lot of concerns about artificial intelligence. But I was listening to somebody the other day saying that what you need to do is see it as the opportunity. So where do you see artificial intelligence going? Is it something that people should be worried about, or are you seeing that potential and the opportunities that it unlocks?
I see massive potential with AI. There's a lot of scaremongering about AI, but there's also, quite rightly, there are real dangers with any new technology that's not got the right safeguards around it. So, I mean, I'm part of the AI Alliance, so I'm on the board there, which is run by the Data Lab, and I'm really passionate about making sure that AI is used in a safe and ethical way, and that we consider the ethics of it and build those ethics in right at the start. So you're looking out for the biases. You're making sure you're designing and testing things to avoid those biases. So I think there are real dangers if it's not done properly, and we need to consider those things carefully and make sure that we address it. But I see artificial intelligence as bringing massive opportunities. Like I said, it's to be able to provide early diagnostic tools as well, and early therapeutic experiences for people. You know, that's a great opportunity. And what really excites me in terms of education is if we could create a really reactive and adaptive learning environment that's based on the individual's needs. I mean, what a great thing to be able to do. You're really putting the learner at the centre of the education, be able to drive things the way they want, learn the way they want, at the speed they want. And AI can help with all of that. So I see massive opportunities there.
And obviously, AI is just fairly recently, I know it's been developed for quite a while now, but fairly recently it's come to prominence. And you've been in the tech industry for such a long time. You've seen massive changes in that time. Is AI then, do you think that's where the future of tech is going? Is it's all going to focus down that AI route?
I think robotics and AI, yeah, that's kind of the future of technology. And it should take away the mundane and the routine from people, as I say, to let them focus on higher value tasks. With that, there will undoubtedly be job casualties, but then what we should be doing as a society is looking at how we train those people to do higher value tasks, rather than having to do kind of routine, boring jobs that don't require that amazing brains that we've all got inside here. You know, let's use let's use people to their capacity much more, and let the AI, let the computers and the robots do all the boring stuff, the routine, mundane things.
And then there's also the potential there, looking at the positive side of things, as technology progresses, there's going to be a lot more careers in technology and in STEM fields in general. I mean, I'm sure there's STEM careers that exist now that didn't exist when you and I were younger. And I think that's going to be the same for the children watching this. By the time they get to your age or my age, there'll be STEM careers that didn't exist when they were
Absolutely.
children. So it's again, it's massive potential, like with AI. And we were talking about visibility as well, being a way to help encourage people into tech. Did you yourself have any STEM heroes or anybody you looked up to?
I not particularly. Although Jocelyn Bell was a particular hero of mine who discovered pulsars. And I mean, what she did and didn't get the Nobel Prize for it, by the way. I met her actually. What an amazing woman! So she was a hero of mine, and yeah, quite incredible what she managed to. Just sheer dedication and doggedness and pattern recognition, and quite incredible what she achieved with. I mean, we're talking about, sitting scanning, put pictures of, the sky. It's really quite incredible what she achieved. So she was one of them.
Yeah, and she was actually mentioned in one of the videos I did where it was 10 things you should know about space. And I mentioned Jocelyn Bell. And you're right there to mention, though, that she never got the Nobel Prize. And I know you just kind of mentioned it in passing there, but I think that is an important point for people to understand that we're talking about women in STEM subjects. And for a long time, even women that made great developments like Jocelyn Bell were ignored and passed over for men doing the similar things to them.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely well worth mentioning there and bringing up, because now she gets recognition, but obviously for a long time.
She glosses over it actually in term, not maybe glosses over, it's not the right term, but she is quite accepting of it. She hasn't criticised, and I couldn't tell you his name, who did get the Nobel Prize. It was basically her supervisor who got the Nobel Prize. And she just kind of, that's what happened, that was it. She's not, doesn't sound bitter about it. So yeah, really quite measured in her response when she's asked questions about it. But it is an issue that women in science haven't been recognised, they're not named, and we need more role models. And we need those women we need to be focusing and highlighting those women that are doing amazing work. I mean, I'm working with, I know somebody who's got a carcinotech. It's a startup company, and she's working in medical science, looking at imaging of cancers. Shani Malhotra, and she's amazing. So there's a lot of young women coming through now with leading cutting edge medical and scientific developments, and they need to be given the recognition and the funding and support, because one great frustration of mine is that it's only between 2 and 5% of venture capital goes to female-led companies. So that's yeah, what's going on? That needs to change.
And the only way it can change is, people like yourself speaking up and promoting women in STEM. So what advice would you give to children and young people, not necessarily girls, but just in general, children and young people who are interested in computing or coding, but not quite sure how to pursue it or where it can lead?
It's such a broad range of things that you can do, and it's not just about programming. You could become a 3D artist, you could become a 2D artist, you could be getting involved in motion capture, graphic design, software engineering. I mean, there's a vast array of different things that you could get involved in. So I think it's looking for opportunities to find out what opportunities are out there. And I mean, I guess people have all got computing science teachers at school, but can I get I would say pursue your dream in terms of find out as well what all the different jobs that you can do as well, because there's a big range of jobs. It doesn't need to just be sitting writing code. And in fact, I think a lot of coding jobs might be taken over by AI anyway. So it's about the design side of things as well. So again, back to the higher value tasks. So I would say if you're interested in technology, we've got so much tech available to us to go and find out what's out there. Is find out what opportunities there are.
Yeah, and linking back to something you said earlier as well, you can find opportunities where that technology can tie into other passions like mental health, or like another guest I had before who was looking at engineering new instruments for people with dementia, and there was technology involved in that. So there are ways to find,
Absolutely.
where technology can help with your passions. So And that's a nice positive note to bring us to an end to, is, you know, finding something you're passionate about and pursuing it. Just to finish off, Anne, could you tell people where they can find the VR Hive online or on social media?
Here, the vrhive.com. You'll find us online there. You'll also find us at the VR Hive on Twitter. So we're on LinkedIn as well. So, but vrhive.com is our website. So our info at the VR Hive, if you want to email us about anything. I do regularly have placement opportunities for people as well to come into the company. I've had lots of students come through. And I'd be more than happy to work with any schools to do outreach work. We've been at a number of schools. So yeah, that's how to find us.